Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Satsangaji, what is mostly asked of me are two questions, especially from our younger generation, our younger people. And those questions are, what is happening in the world today and when will it change? So this is very important to understand, very important to absorb within us. Because we're seeing in this world today that there's those who are creating hatred and division and racism, wars, using military action, all of that we're seeing, trying to put more control upon us. But we also understand that this is a time of great transformation and a great change for the world. And is a time for each of us to take that responsibility within ourselves to be messengers for peace. We are in the Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga means the age of darkness, a time when everything seems as though it's upside down. Because in order for there to be a change and a shift and an understanding of what we want to change to, we see what is going on, and clearly we are seeing what we don't want and what we don't want to happen. But we're in a transformation, and that transformation is part of the alignment of the planets and the universe itself and that flow of energy. That there is a harmonic convergence happening that has been happening over the last 30 years, that within itself is shifting the consciousness of humanity. What that means is that more are awakening, especially the younger generations are much more sensitive, much more aware, much more clear. They ask us questions we don't even know the answers to, because they're seeing it from a different viewpoint, from a different way. But they're also watching what is going on because there's so much access today to social media, to information. And that information overload is even sometimes too much. So what we see is happening today in the midst of all that we see that is wrong, that is going down today with wars and those who want to perpetuate more wars, more violence, more subjugation. But we also see that there's a movement towards liberation. Guru Nanak Dev Ji brought that concept of liberation of all humanity and of the individual over 500 years ago. Brought to this planet a technology, a science of teaching to elevate the spirit of all humankind. And all our gurus represented, and those shahidis, those who gave their lives, represented those who worked for human rights, for all people, for all faiths, for all religions, for all practices. So we have to understand that we are in a time today when that shift is happening. On the one hand, I'm saying the subjugation, but on the other hand, we have the liberation. And we have to spread a message of liberation, liberating humanity, seeing the equality of each of us, spreading a message of peace, because we don't want war. And war shall not create peace. A war will not bring peace to this world. Peace will come when each of us make the conscious decision that we want to have a change. And that change starts within ourselves. That's why the power of meditation, the power of Simran, the power of Vaheguru, the power of Bani, the power of that vibration within us is to uplift our spirit and to open those doors of communication, of understanding, of self-understanding, so that we can help others, reach out to others, spread the message. As one candle lights another candle, that message of peace shall be lit by each of us. So it's important to understand that. We can't lose the hope. There's many who are coming who are saying, I'm very depressed by what is happening. When will that change? When will we see a change? But that change is part of what is happening right now. Because as humanity is recognizing and seeing that we are not people of war, we are not people of violence. But those who are perpetuating that are lighting the spark in those who don't want that consciousness. And it feeds into the negative consciousness. So those words of these so-called leaders that are spreading hate messages and other things and disparaging people and disparaging nations of people is hitting the psyche of those who get caught into the negative consciousness, into the negative mind, and it perpetuates in the negative mind, which creates actions which then put people against people, put each of us. So there's that divide and conquer used for our generations to separate us. So we don't have unity, we don't accept each of us. When the consciousness of change is that consciousness is that each of us are created by one God, Ekonkar. There's one creator. That's the commonality of each of us. And to see that and to respect each other. There's many different faith practices. There's many different belief systems. And to honor those faith practices and belief systems that honor humanity, that honor a human being, that honor the sacredness of life itself. And to hold that sacredness of life very deeply inside. So where does that start? That starts within myself. I have to find what is my sacredness. How do I honor myself? I teach the 4 pillars: to know yourself, to trust yourself, to love yourself, and to be yourself. 4 pillars. Know who you are. Trust who you are. Believe in who you are. And most importantly, love who you are. That self-love is so important. Through that self-love comes the love of others. Through the identification of the oneness within yourself, you see the oneness in everyone. So the consciousness is shifting, and our younger generation wants that consciousness. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sache Patshahi came to this planet just over 500 years ago to share a message of peace, of tolerance, of acceptance, of protecting the human rights of all people, and to see not what is different, but to see what is the same within us, and honoring each of us in that sacredness of the choices that we make in our consciousness, conscious choices, to help uplift the spirit of humanity. And that's the hope that we have. That is what is our mission that we have. Khalsa has given, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj gave Khalsa the mission of uplifting others, of helping others, and of finding out the truth within one's own self. And from that mission out to others, to help create a flow and an energy of that, which is happening in this planet. Because there are so many who are seeing what is wrong, who will not tolerate what is wrong. But we have to be instruments of that change. It will take many generations for the world to come to peace, because of the generations that have brought this world to unrest, the generations that have created divisions between us. And the major division was the teaching that you and God, that myself and God are separate, that there's a separation, that the God is outside somewhere, and I'm here, and I have to go to that God. And it creates a duality or a separation within us that divides us, that creates that separation. That God is outside of me, and I have to find someone to take me to God, or I have to reach out to that. Whereas Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught that God lives inside of each of us. There's no separation between ourselves and that who created us. The creator of all creation and ourselves are the same. We are a creature who was created by that creation, to live in our creativity, to grow through that creativity. But what happened over the past few thousand years was that that was separated. And as soon as that became separated, that God was over here and I'm over here, and that gap is a duality that exists today that separates us from each other, that creates the consciousness of separation, divide us, conquer us, that we should become a subject, as opposed to understand that when we unify ourselves in the oneness of this creation, in the oneness of that created all creation, and that we're part of that and we're one within it, that oneness, God and me and God are one, that there's no separation, then the totality of self is realized. That's when the totality of self is realized and the totality of self is understood. To understand what is the totality of my life, of my living, of my existence, so I don't feel separated. And as soon as we don't feel separated, as soon as we feel that oneness, then we respect and see everything that was created by this creation. Every blade of grass, every tree that we see, every human that we interact with, every little bug and mosquito and animal and creature that we see, every fish. We honor everything that lives, everything that grows, everything in the entire universe. We see as a totality of our existence because we interact in that environment with everything, with those little bugs, with the animals that we see, with each other as beings of this human form. There's an interaction that happens. And there's a merging of our electromagnetic fields together because each of us are a center of electromagnetic field. We call that the aura. And we blend together in our aura with each other. We merge, don't we see that merge with each other? We connect with each other. Because every human being has that urge to merge. And every human being has a longing to belong. Two very simple things. That we have that urge to merge and we have that longing to belong. We want to connect to each other. We want to blend with each other. And we want to belong. That is what we call Sangat. The true aspect of Sangat is that through Sangat, Sangat means that congregation, in its spiritual realm, that we connect and merge and belong with each other, that creates a group consciousness. And group consciousness always leads us to universal consciousness. So that consciousness has those three stages. One is the individual. There's myself, my personal, my consciousness, my conscious awareness. In Sangat, we merge that conscious awareness. And in our Sikh faith, we merge it at the feet of our Guru. We merge it through Simran, through meditation. And as we merge and blend to each other, that vibration of that group consciousness, of that Sangat, leads us to universal consciousness, to see the vastness of this creation, and instills with us that honoring of all creation. And when humanity can honor all creation, war will end. When we honor each other, when there is not a single woman on this planet who is being abused, then peace shall prevail. When every man can hold the consciousness of God deep within, peace shall prevail upon this planet. When we recognize each other and honor each other for who we are, and hold that respect for each other, and the sacredness of life itself, and we blend that with each other, through each other, and we can have that merge, then peace shall prevail. Because the existing life, the existing what is happening, is not looking at the sacredness and independence of every person, is only looking at what monies can be made, what armies can be built, what lands can be subjugated, what people can be controlled, what can be put into effect to take away our strength, to take away our unity, to dilute us, to pit us against each other, to fight with each other. Religion over religion, race over race, color over color, all those things that are happening that have no real base of understanding in the truth of the reality of what is coexistence, what is acceptance, and what is honoring the sacredness of life. And we know in this Kali Yuga, in this darker age, as it's getting darker, what is happening is that subjugation, that hatred, that division, those who are purposely controlling that and controlling the whole fabric of what is happening in the world today, monetarily, militarily, all of that. Controlling lands, controlling the money, want to put further control on us so that we don't spread the message of consciousness and don't spread a message of us each of us taking the responsibility and bringing that responsibility together with each other so that we can effect a change. But it shall happen, because that consciousness is more powerful than the negative consciousness, more powerful than the negativity. And we're seeing the exposure during this time, because as these planets are aligning, what is happening is everything comes to the surface. Everything is known, and all the corruption, all of that is coming out to the surface and shall emerge more to the surface and shall be known of those who are creating corruption, who are taking subjugation, who are trying to control what we do and how we do it. But that shall come to an end. Sat Yuga, the age of truth, shall emerge again. Some people call it Aquarian age, New Age, this and that. But the age, the Sat Yuga, the true age is coming. again to re-emerge itself, that shall honor the soul of each of us and see the soul and have a soul relationship to each of us and recognize that. So when they ask that question of me, when will that happen? When will that happen? My answer is, it's already in process. But we have to take the responsibility to be messengers of the consciousness of change, the consciousness of merging, the consciousness of helping each other. That is the true seva. That is the true service that we give. So we have to be strong as Sangha. We have to be strong together. We have to share a message of peace together. We have to unify ourselves together, because within our own faith groups we're divided. We have divisions within our faith groups. We have divisions within Sikhi. We have divisions that are within inside of ourselves are pitting each other against each other, without again seeing that until we can let down that and find the commonality and respect each other. Because that one purpose we have, my belief, at this time, is the message of peace, is the message of liberation. And that is what Guru Nanak Dev Ji brought. That is what our Guru represented, was the liberation of each of us individually and the liberation of all humanity, to put an end to the subjugation. That's what we've stood for. That's what we will continue to stand for. And that's what, if necessary, we will give our lives for. That is what we learn from the Shahidis. That's what we learn from those who gave their lives, who sacrificed their lives so that others could live. And that is a consciousness that we have to take as well, that we're willing to give every part of ourselves so that others can walk free, that our next generations, our younger generations, generations to follow, our children's children shall inherit a world of peace, abundance, and prosperity for everyone. And I've never lost, in my many, many years on this pathway, I've never lost that inspiration that shall be. And I never lost that hope, and to this day I don't lose that hope, to continue to spread this message. It's why it's so important, and I stress so much all the time, the importance of body, mind, and our connection to the universe. That our body needs to be in good shape. We have to be healthy. We have to be conscious of how we breathe, how we exercise our body. We have to be conscious of what we're putting inside of our body. We have to be conscious of how we eliminate that from our body. So one aspect is the body itself. To see the sacredness, this body has been given to us as a gift. To enjoy this, whatever years that we have, whatever time frame that we have, whatever our timeline is in this planet, existing in this physical body, is given to us as a gift. So honor that gift. Honor your physical self. Take care of yourself. Eat properly, eat digestible foods, sattvic foods, low alkaline foods, because this acidic foods and these processed foods that are so prevalent today, and so many people are eating these processed foods and very acidic foods, is what's creating many ailments of the body. And we have to move this body, because with poor circulation also we become ill, we become dis-at-ease with ourselves. And mentally, the power of meditation, of Nam Simran, the vibration of the Nam, Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. Reading our Bani, reading your spiritual scriptures, because they give that essence of the existence of life. And these are all there to uplift us, to take care of our body, to make sure that our mind is clear. Our mind will become crystal clear through meditation, through Pat, through Simran, through that vibration. Our mind creates a clarity of thought, and it opens channels of our brain that otherwise aren't used, that give us more creativity, more understanding, more connection, so that we can have that connection to the universe, to the flow of all energy which exists on this entire creation of the solar systems beyond solar systems that exist in this foundation of this galaxy that's vast, that every human being can access. Every person can have that. As we take care of our body, as we meditate, as we vibrate, as that sound current moves within us, as we open up the channels of our consciousness to experience Sirjanahar, to experience that greatness of the beloved, to feel that within that, to experience the universal flow of energy, to have that flow through us, through the Dasam Dwara, through our 10th gate, and to experience the consciousness through the Akashic ethers, to experience that flow where all teachings exist, and every human being has access to that. That we become that perfect foundational being that experiences all vastness and unlimitedness that exists for every human being to experience. And to bring that knowledge, that sharing, to bring that back into the consciousness of each of us so that each of us can experience it with a greater understanding of our own being, our own spirituality, our own truth, our own trust, our own understanding of who we are and where we are going and what the future shall bring to us. But we have to live to that future. We have to live to that consciousness. We have to live to that tomorrow, to let that tomorrow go deep within inside us. Because every today is going to lead us to our tomorrow, and every tomorrow shall become that which will be our future. So live in the consciousness of that within ourselves. That is what the purity of life is. So that change is happening. Be conscious of what is going on. Share your gifts with others and honor the gift inside of you. And trust God. Trust the infinite of the self. That is the oneness of all creation. And that is what shall deliver us through this world ocean. But we are those pioneers. We are born in this time, in this Kali Yuga, we're born in this time to become pioneers of what shall be for the future. Our Gurus have laid the foundation of that future. We are standing on that foundation which has been laid for us. We are standing on that foundation. We will progress that. We will become the foundation. Others will stand upon our foundation. And that shall grow to lead to change in this world. And that is what I never forget, what I never give up on, what I know shall happen. I may not experience it in my lifetime, but my prayers that my children, their children, future generations, our Sanghat, our young people will understand it, will realize it, will become messengers of that truth, shall grow in strength, shall grow in consciousness to lead this world to peace, to lead this world to liberation. So Satsangaji, let us never lose that hope. Let us hold it deep in our heart. Let us grow with it. Let us flow with it. Let us know it. And let us show it to all people. That we are messengers of peace. That we respect the sacredness of every breath that is taken. And we protect the human rights of all people. And see the equality of everyone, regardless of color, of caste, of creed, of gender, of faith, of belief, of preference, that every person has a right of that choice to live in their freedom. And let us merge together, grow together, find unity in our Sanghats, create that unity so that we can share a unified message of peace to this world. So as I said, first that starts with me. I have to take that responsibility personally within myself and go through the personal transformation that I don't feel separated, but I feel a part of everything, and that totality exists within me. From that totality of self comes the totality through each of us that blend and merge together, that creates a consciousness of Sangat. That consciousness of Sangat shall give us that beautiful, beautiful experience of the infinite. Guru Nanak Dev Ji taught that we have a vastness within us that starts from the finite self, that's me in this physical form, to experience all infinity, the vastness of that, which is without beginning and without end. And every human being is without beginning and without end. When we realize that within and have that guide us into our tomorrow. So let us continue that. Share what we know, share what we have, care what we have, to others. Let self-love become so strong. And through the self-love, spread a message of love and peace to the world. Know yourself, love yourself, trust yourself, and be yourself. Those are the 4 pillars to stand upon. And when you understand that and embrace it deeply within, it changes your access, it changes your orbit, it changes the relationship you have to all existence, to see through eyes of love. And if you see through eyes of love, there'll always be love in your eyes. So let us share that message of love and peace. Shanti, peace. Pyar, the love. The Anand, the bliss. Sahaj, the calmness. Establish a strong meditative practice that Nam Simran vibrates within you 24/7. Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru never leaves, never stops. And that is what propels the consciousness to the consciousness of infinity and to the experience, the true experience of the vastness and greatness of life. Satsangati, let our prayers for peace be strong, let our prayers for peace be heard. And may each of us share that message of peace through each other, through our seva, to help to bring this world to peace. And I especially call upon our younger generation, our young adults, to grow in their strength, to grow in their consciousness, to spread a message of peace to the world. O Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.